Giving yourself a chance or giving up. One is easier, but leaves no potential for growth. The other, endless potential. But with that, the fear. Fear to start, fear to keep going, fear of failure, and fear of the unknown. I'm sure many artists out there have experienced the friends and family, do it because you love me commission requests. I decided to take on a drawing of my brother. I figured it would be a good chance to level up my portrait skills, to experiment with some color and try some new techniques.
My initial sketch for this drawing, I drew it on a flat surface, which I knew not to do, but for some reason just did not want to remember that. And when I went to go color it, I realized that the proportions were off and the face was a bit distorted.
I liked how the drawing turned out, even though I made the face too narrow. I think the colors I used really brought him to life. It just looks like somebody took his face and scosed it, and it stayed like that forever. I thought the colors in this drawing would make a lovely painting, so I decided to give it a try and do the picture as a oil painting. And it also would give me a chance to redeem myself for the proportions.
Determined by the number of majors it has who are ranked near stage 0.
Having a full-time job doesn't always allow me to dedicate a full day to painting. So when I get a day to just tune the world out and paint, it's such a blessing. It's like I go into a different realm. There was a point in time where the idea of drawing and painting a face was so daunting. The face had to be perfect. Everybody could see who the person was, so there was no getting around any mistakes. It caused me to become so overwhelmed with even laying a brushstroke, in fear that I wasn't good enough and in fear that I really didn't know how it would turn out. With these paintings, I have to choose to just try. The beginning stage of this painting was a mental task. I kept telling myself that it wasn't going to work and I should just scrap it and give up now. It didn't help that I decided to be bold and try something new by doing a dark Payne's gray background for this painting. I usually will choose burnt sienna, something warm and light. But no, I decided to try something new. This was definitely an uphill battle. I kept telling myself, don't give up, just keep going, trust the process, trust the process. When I was a kid, I would scare quite easily when it comes to movies. And not just scary movies, I never watched those. I'm talking PG and G movies. It was so bad that I rarely ever finished a movie. I would get about 20 minutes in and I would leave in tears, bawling my eyes out. I remember this one time, I was sitting with my family watching a movie. I think it was about the Loch Ness Monster or something. A kid's movie, all of my siblings seemed to be enjoying it. But I was sitting cowering, literally cowering. I remember at one point it was building up so much that I just had to leave, and I cried. I talked to my older sister about it, and I'll never forget. She said, "What happened next?" And I was stunned because I didn't know. I never sat down long enough in a movie to find out what happened next. She said, "Well, did the bad thing happen? Was everybody destroyed? Was everybody crying in terror in the end of the movie?" I don't know. I didn't stay to find out. I never stuck it out. At this point of the painting, I was finally starting to see it come together. I was so glad that I did not scrap it and give up. But I realized that in my initial drawing, I didn't quite get the nose right. So I figured I should wipe it off now before I got much further into the details of the painting.
Sometimes I get so engrossed with my paintings that I have to force myself to step away. So I had to remind myself, hey, go drink some water. Step back.
I think the illustration of mixing paint is the perfect example of why it is so important to push past fear. When you have a color in mind that will fit so perfectly, and you try and try and try again, the more you try, the more educated you become of what to place to get a certain color. If you give up, you'll never see that color you desired come to fruition. But if you keep trying, when you get that color just right and you place it on the canvas to create your vision, the satisfaction that comes, that's why it's important to push past. That's why it's important to not give up. My sister taught me such an important lesson: the difference between suspense and fear. Suspense is the tension of the unknown, the before it happens, the buildup of nerves and excitement, the curiosity to know it's about what's next. Fear is believing that something is dangerous, painful, some sort of threat, and this is what I mistook. All the time I spent in fear, believing that I was in pain or near pain, that I was in danger, I could have been sitting in curiosity to figure out what is happening, what could be. Because many times these movies ended in happy endings. I know that now, and I knew that as a kid, of course. Every fairy tale has a happily ever after. But that buildup was so intense for me that I often just gave up. Don't give up. Don't live in fear. I wasn't given a spirit of fear. It's okay to not know. But what if we embrace the unknown? For my final day of painting, I did my final touches. Usually this day is a lot of staring. Something about fresh eyes helps me see a new side of my painting. I wish I could have completely fresh eyes, but when I go to sleep or when I move on, I still think about my painting. I will be in the middle of work thinking about my paintings. They take over my mind. But it's still good to get some space from them and come back with fresh eyes. I decided for myself, as I hope all aspiring artists do, to give myself a chance. Don't worry about what others are doing. Don't worry about the unknown. Don't worry about past failures. Just be curious. Learn, try, experiment. Enjoy the creative process and grow. Don't give in to fear. Give a chance.